Good day to you all.
Good day, Ethan.
Today, we would like to bring to you the idea of allowing it all to be obvious. Obvious in your expectations, obvious in your sensibilities, obvious as to when you are interacting with others and yourself. Many times, humans on your planet act from a place of confusion, act from a place of not really wanting to do what it is they came to do. So by allowing themselves to make things confusing, they put up a barrier and put up a barrier in themselves and with others. It will transmit itself in its interactions through you when you are connecting to another person, and they will create barriers in their ability to connect to those things within themselves. So many times when you have the idea of people lying to themselves, lying about who and what they are, they will create these kinds of distractions and these kinds of abilities to actually connect to more of themselves and everyone around them. So the idea is, let it be obvious when you are interacting with others and yourself, whether it is the things you see in your inner world or in your outer world. Let them be obvious as to what they actually are in your understanding, in your ability to fully commit and fully be in your presence and yourself. When you are truly engaged in yourself, you are allowing yourself to be fully engaged in every moment of your life. At this time, we bring this particular understanding, the particular vibration and frequency through ourself and the channel to let you give yourself the permission slip that everything is obvious when you truly look at it from a fully integrated standpoint in yourself, when you truly know who and what you are, and you know truly, and you're able to truly look at other people. This gives you the opportunity to decide what and how you would like to exist as. So, in the sense that the channel just described to you prior to us connecting, he was able to see from a very obvious place what was blocking his crown chakra. By having this example prior to our connection, it made us have an opportunity to point it out because it was obvious when you're coming from a particular level and your particular way of understanding that the things that you hold on to, those internal struggles, those internal places, block your ability to receive the guidance from your higher self and your higher mind when you don't make them obvious.
Thank you, Ethan. What would you suggest for one to be more in the flow and allow themselves to receive the obvious?
Pay attention to your vision. Your visions about yourself, the illusions that you allow yourself to live in, the delusions that you have incorporated into your life and decided that they are true. If you take a good, honest look at yourself, it will be obvious. Don't make the understanding the way that these particular energies, these particular experiences come to yourself. If you give them simple explanations and allow yourself to fully integrate and fully be present, the illusions themselves, the lies, these things, many negative beliefs that humans hold on to, will be obvious. You overcomplicate things because you are in pain and you are trying to create blocks to other people to not be able to be hurt by them.
You know, this is all good and dandy, but in real life, in this life at least,
Yes.
um, it's sometimes not so easy. I mean, you think you're in the moment, you're doing the right thing, and maybe it's obvious that you're not, but at the moment, too much ego. I don't know. You know what I
Many of
mean?
you have had the idea of negative belief systems that have been reinforced through your experiences with other humans. So, therefore, the understanding and this is where the rubber meets the road, is using your ability to actually engage in yourself and what you have to offer to others.
That's very good. You're talking about absolute honesty with oneself, really.
Yes,
Yes,
this is the point.
this is the point.
When you're fully honest with yourself, everything is obvious. Everything is at a place where you're able to fully see and engage in your experience and engage in your ability to fully see who and what you are and what you have done to yourself and others.
That's true.
When you're acting from a place of integrity, the idea of lying to yourself is not a real thing.
Absolutely true. This is more of a process to learn than a one time Sally. I got it right.
Yes. You understand of the idea of going to a gym when you want to have a particular shape to your body.
Of course.
Many of the things we have described to you and others, when you practice these things, they become a natural part of who and what you are.
Yes. Thank you. Would you please suggest how I could integrate some of this practice into my day to day routine?
Take a moment each time when you feel conflict in yourself, even just the most minute amount of conflict in your interactions with others, conflict in yourself, conflict in any way, shape, or form. Take that moment and really thoroughly ask yourself whether or not you're hiding, whether or not you're using some illusion about another person to decide that this person is the most perfect person to have in your life, in your experience. Or are you putting expectations onto what that person needs to be, or the situation, or anything? That if you're honest with yourself, truly and utterly honest with yourself, you know these things are not correct for you.
Yes. I also know that personally I feel like a little contraction if I want to go towards the wrong direction. My body will just seize almost. Sometimes it's a micro movement, but I do feel it, and then I know that direction is the wrong one.
You are listening to your internal guidance system. Your
Right.
ability to fully engage with yourself and who you are, that is a majority of the process.
Right.
If you're honest, and we honestly say honest to the highest extent, you know what's right for you.
Yes, absolutely. And I think and thank you for this. And one of the ways that I think personally for me and probably for others to practice this with the consumption of whatever we consume, drink and eat. So if I'm
Yes.
honest with myself, I know exactly how much coffee I need in the morning to feel awake, but not too much to feel to have a headache.
Yes.
If I consume too little, it may be not so great. If I consume too much, not so great. But if I go by my protocol that I know works for me, that's
Yes.
also honesty, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
In all those situations, you were honest with yourself and really listened to what you need.
Well, sometimes I'm honest with myself that I shouldn't be eating something sweet at night, but I still eat it.
Why do you choose to do that?
To cover on something else that I'm debating. It's a distraction.
Why are you running away from yourself? Why are you running away from the present moment? There is no other
Right.
place than that.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. I have some questions from the chat, if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay. Rico Sigma, what's the significance of birds flying straight at me or near my head?
You ask for guidance. You ask the universe to give you messages. Sometimes it will throw it directly at you. What are you not looking at? What is trying to get your attention?
Continuing Rico's question, could we say that anything around us is really reflection and a symbol in some way?
All things are reflections. All things are symbolic in nature.
And they are symbolic because I manifest them or because the universe wants to tell me something?
Yes. You manifest them into your reality because your higher mind would like to say something to you. In your experience, you're being given opportunities and signposts to tell you you're going positive directions because remember, synchronicity includes positive and negative synchronicities. It is not just purely, I feel great because this great thing happened. It is revealing to you the stop and the go and the hold here for now.
Thank you. Mary, for almost 4 months, I have had migraines, severe pressure in the head,
Yes.
dizziness, and tinnitus. I can't do anything. Why I get that, and what can I do about it?
Many times when you are opening up to higher levels, higher frequencies, these types of experiences do happen. And also, in many cases, you could potentially have a blockage in your neck, and the connection between your lower and your higher physical being is being blocked by a muscle, a nerve interaction. But many times, you are being blocked in yourself and your energetic systems when you are receiving higher dimensional information, when you are not quite open to that level of experience.
Thank you. Please guide me through. If I'm only manifesting or inviting events at a certain level of frequency, why would I receive events that are more too much for me to receive?
Because you are defining them as too much to receive, too much for you to actually experience. You are never given more than you can actually handle.
So if I'm going back to our title today, if I'm obvious, if I'm honest with myself, all these events I should be able to handle.
You are never given more than you can handle.
Right.
You create your own reality. You'll create your own experience as to how and what you want to be. You are being given negative experiences, the idea of being overwhelmed, it's because you are defining it in that way. If you really are honest with yourself and in that honest to God state, you will see that you can actually handle them if you break them down in a very simplistic way instead of making them overly complex and defining them in the aspect that you cannot handle what you are being given.
So if someone is having tinnitus or whatever these symptoms,
Yes.
Mary is asking, what can I do about it?
Understand and redefine your connection to them. Many of these types of signals are interpreted in a negative way in your culture by blocking the particular frequency that is trying to come through. You're experiencing it in the way of tinnitus.
So every pain, every ailment, every feeling great, every breath is a feedback mechanism from me to the universe and back.
Yes, it is
Yes.
a complete system.
Right. Thank you.
We would also suggest if you are having severe interactions that are hindering your ability to function, you might want to go to a doctor and actually have them look at it. We would not give you the suggestion to not, but understand there are actual explanations as to why things like this happen.
Right. And from your perspective, going to a doctor or taking a medication, for example, is a permission slip to be better, to heal.
Yeah, all things are permission slips.
Right. So, okay, so something was bothering me the other day, and then magically, of course, on YouTube comes this video, and he says maybe you lacking in magnesium. So I have
Yes.
some magnesium. So I pop some magnesium. What do you know? I'm not bothered by it anymore.
Many of you have insufficient nutrition in your diet, the way much of the human civilization is set up currently. The nutrition in your diet is less natural, less able to deliver you what you need, other than the feeling of feeling full.
Right.
If you go to a more natural diet, filled with less of the toxic buildup in your system, you will find many of the symptoms that you experience health wise actually disappear. Let it be obvious.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, the North American produce, especially up north here in Canada, is not that great comparing to when I go visit the family in Israel or maybe Costa Rica, Nicaragua, any other warm weather.
Yes.
But okay, but my question is, w- can I heal myself without going to the doctor, without taking the magnesium?
Of course.
What's the mindset I need to achieve for that to be healthy?
The idea that you must overcome or allow yourself to integrate into your experience is that you are perfectly healthy the way you are. But if you have much of an understanding or you have integrated into yourself that I am not healthy for these reasons, until you fully let those reasons go, you will continue to experience ill health.
Right. Okay, thank you. Um, Diamond Mine is asking, how can we remember, excuse me, how can we remember more of your teachings, Ethan?
You are able to return to these recordings at different times, correct?
Yes.
Be willing to review the transmissions when you need to and practice. Take the energy that we bring through the channel and take some time and allow yourself to integrate, be patient with yourself, and understand that you will not get it perfect right on the first time, and allow yourself to integrate the energy into yourself. We are speaking slowly for you to bring it into yourself and allow yourself to have patience and be kind to yourself and how you approach it.
Yes. Uh, Myself, for example, I review these videos about 3 times on average by the time of processing and then listening to them 1 or 2 more times, usually the couple of days after. And I find
Yes,
that helps me to integrate the learnings and also to keep the connection alive, so to speak.
yes. Be obvious.
Be obvious.
You did not learn things without practice when you were growing up, correct?
Correct.
Well, you're still growing up.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Diamond Mind. Please, can you scan my chakras and which of them need work?
Your heart chakra mainly.
Heart chakra, Mary. Thank you. Mary, can you scan?
You need to work through the idea of grief in that case. What are you grieving in your heart that is blocking your ability to connect to yourself and your upper and lower chakras together?
Thank you. Mary, can you scan my chakras, please?
You are into your second chakra. There is the idea of connection that is being blocked to yourself and to others.
Thank you. Rico Sigma, what's my strongest parallel reality connection?
Incarnationally speaking, one moment. Male, mid to late 20s, about 200 years ago. the idea of not being able to be with your family and be in yourself and finding a home within yourself and who you are.
So Rico was a young male 200 years ago and was likely by himself, and this experience taught him to be with himself.
Yes.
Okay, good.
You are going through a time period right now in your world where you are redefining what it means to be in yourself and who you are, as well as what does it mean to be a person, whether it is a man or woman, masculine or feminine, to decide if you would like to have a society where you are very androgynous in nature, but also have a society where you can fully exist as yourself. You are going through a period of exploration, culturally speaking, energetically, collectively speaking, where you are trying to work through these particular ideas.
I couldn't have said it better. With regards, you said the word androgynous, right?
Yes.
Yes. It's hard not to notice that maybe until 4 or 5 years ago, they weren't androgynous looking, for lack of better words, terms of people, persons
Yeah.
around. And today, I see, especially here in Toronto, many of them.
Many of those particular souls are what you refer to as star seeds that typically incarnate as the other gender. So they are going through the process of saying, is this really me? Am I really this thing? I normally am a man, but this time I am a woman. So many times you will go through the idea of being the opposite gender in order to balance out your energies, as it were.
Okay, so explain that to me. Most of these that I see are born as males,
Yes.
and the person I saw today, for example, um, was very feminine looking, but clearly was born a male. Perhaps
Yeah.
had some plastic surgery done or whatever. I'm
Yes.
not sure. And played and acted as female.
Yes.
So he was
He
more of a
typically
female.
incarnates as a woman.
Sorry?
He typically incarnates as a woman
Okay. And why is this phenomena happening on a greater scale now?
because you're in a time period where people forget less. Many of these people are saying, this is not my normal body. Why am I not in my normal body? Why am I not in my normal particular way of incarnating? Because you forget less, you are having more of these experiences of people saying, I would like to be what I normally am. But they are also going through a period right now where they are deciding whether or not they would like to fully explore one gender or the other, one energy or the other.
Right.
But understand you contain both.
Right. Because the all contains both.
Yes.
Right. Ethan, I've listened to channeling with Pele earlier today,
Yes.
and it was mentioned that we've cleared the karmic era, if I recall correctly, of about 2,000 years of
Yes.
one, which is related to the society more, and now we move into another karmic area of more of self-growth and exploration. So we came from a society that everyone doing together the same thing to more of a personalized experience, if I understand that correctly.
Yes. You're going through the idea of integration currently. You're all deciding who you want to be.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's why we see a lot of uprisings and people picketing and demonstrating and all that.
Yes, they are deciding which state they would like to live in, which state of being they would like to live in, the place they would like to live.
Okay, good. What about phenomena that we see recently where students of certain faith or religion go to a university and they camp out there, but it usually followed with megaphones and other students can be there. It gets a bit violent. What is this from?
You are going through birthing pains, and you also understand the idea of radicalization.
Yes.
These particular beings decided to incarnate in a way that expresses the pain that you as a culture have internalized.
What will be with them?
Please repeat.
What will be with them? I mean, where are they going? How are they going to complete their lives with so much anger?
Eventually, they will go through experiences. Either they will live their entire life with this particular energy, or it will be expressed and eventually released when they no longer have the issue that draws them to this particular state of being or wanting to express themselves in this direction.
Thank you. And those who incarnated and is into the opposite gender,
Yes.
Apparently quite a few of them commit suicide because of some drugs that they're being given.
Yes.
How do I view this?
How would you like to view it? We're not going to tell you how to view these things because this is the point of choice. This
Right.
is your decision to make.
Right.
Is it right for you to take or do what they are doing?
Sorry?
Is it your choice? What do you think of these experiences?
I think it's their lives.
Yes. What does it have to do with you?
Nothing. I'm just curious. They go through all this painful process and then they end up killing themselves. Not all of them, but some, and apparently a large, like a higher percentage in that group.
Many of them are taking themselves out of your reality because it no longer matches who they are.
Okay. That makes sense. They're just okay. All right.
Let it be obvious.
Let it be obvious. Absolutely. Okay, I got a couple questions here from Mary, if that's okay.
Yes.
All right. I saw an advertisement on YouTube about 2 months ago. One of the three advertisements was strange. UFOs and extraterrestrials could be seen. I never saw this advertisement again. And
Yes.
then Mary also asked, what do souls look like? These are two different questions from Mary.
Typically, most souls appear as orbs.
Okay.
The idea of seeing a advertisement because you are actually in fact interacting with a being that is an extraterrestrial in your understanding, in actuality, it gets you to go a particular direction that you might lead to someone like us.
Come again, please.
If you are being given the opportunity for advertisement for aliens, and also many of you do see into other realities, do see other experiences for momentary gaps where you are seeing into realities where aliens already are integrated into the society.
Right.
You're given a preview, as it were.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I see it. Thank you. Speaking of souls, Ethan, you mentioned earlier there are contracts made prior to incarnation.
Yes.
How does one finds out contracts that he made as a soul?
The themes that you play out in your life, the things that reoccur over and over and over again. Many of you are working through the idea of what it means to have self-worth and self-love and unconditional love from a higher perspective.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
But let it be obvious. What are the reoccurring themes in your life? What are the reoccurring things that you seem to experience over and over and over again? The relationships you have in your family, with your friends, with many of the people in your life, these are typically the contracts that you made. So therefore, let it be obvious.
Yes. What about a relationship change, either for the better or for the worse? Word the contract here.
Many times when you are going through the idea of contract changes, as it were, you have ended an experience with another person, an experience with another soul, or you have finished the contract. Many times when you do not allow these relationships to move on, you go through the idea of the relationship souring,
Right.
becoming painful to stay in. The longer you stay in it, if it continues on in this painful way, you are receiving the energy that lets you know it's time to move on.
Thank you.
Yes.
1 second, please.
Remember, the more you hold on to your past situations, the more pain you hold on, because many of you have been told that suffering is noble. The idea is of
Right.
suffering, needing to hold on to that particular experience. You don't need to hold on to it all that long. The universe is giving you synchronicity to let you know that you are done in this area in this way. It is ejecting you one way or the other. It is giving you subtle hints at first, and then eventually it becomes very obvious that you need to move on from your situation to new situations to decide if you want to play out new themes because you are in the age of transformation. So many of you are finishing many, many old themes that are obvious if you really look at them in this light.
True. Thank you. This just happened yesterday, I think. A couple of days ago, my friend says to me, "Oh, I keep seeing 1111. I see them a few times in a short span of time." And
Yeah.
I said, "Well, that's sign you're in alignment." My friend
Yes.
said, "What's alignment?" And I said, "You're in the flow. You're one with the universe." But it kind of didn't go through.
It's not relevant for him to understand that at this time. At one point or another, whether this incarnation or another, he will get it.
I see.
Be okay with them not understanding. Be okay with people in your life not understanding who and what you are. But when you come from a higher perspective and allowing yourself to be fully in alignment with who and what you are and with your higher self, with your totality of your being, you will naturally gravitate to this particular understanding that everything is working perfectly.
Yes, absolutely. And I think as a father, I started to get it. Um, I do everything I can for my daughter, but it's still at the end of the day, it's her life, and although she's a child still, um, I try to guide her and protect her as much as I can. But at the end of the day, like she's gonna make her decisions, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You are being given the opportunity from that perspective to transform the relationship as the child ages to higher levels, higher experiences, to carry along your energy with her into your future and her future. Don't allow and don't insist that the relationship needs to stay the way it is now, or let it evolve into a new level where you are able to fully engage with who she is right now and then into the future.
Thank you very much for this. Yes, I think we're on the right path there.
Yes, many of the humans on your planet get stuck in the idea that relationships never change. Relationships have to be this way, or relationships have to be this way. This person has to bring this thing. No one has to bring you anything. You are in a cohesive relationship that you are deciding whether or not you would really like to engage. But if you are being given negative synchronicity to by another person that is saying they are done with the relationship with you, let it go.
Yes, thank you.
Let those relationships go and do not hold on to them because they will eventually become toxic to the point where they hurt both of you.
Thank you. When a relationship time to end, perhaps you'd be presented with a situation that will allow it to happen.
Yes. Usually, if you listen to it right away, it happens gracefully. The
Yes.
more you do not listen to the synchronicity that shows up in your life, it will get harder every single time.
Yes. 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 Thank you. I wanted to ask you something slightly different here. Are you familiar with the raw channelings that happened in the 1980s?
Yes.
Thank you. I've listened to almost all of them, many several times over, and I think it was a very good preparation for me to do this work now.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you told me that the guides have shown me that those recordings for me to start practicing towards this.
Is it that obvious?
Yes, it is.
Well, there you go.
Thank you. I've been thinking a lot about, out of the three people that did the work, Don Elkins caught my mind because he was asking the questions, the channel, kind of like I am.
Yes.
I was wondering if you can connect Don with us and perhaps send any messages or advice from Don to the channel and I.
You are connecting and acting in the same way that he acted in that situation and being given the opportunity to act from that point of view. The person that channeled the raw information, that particular information was delivered at that time so it could be integrated and become part of your society, and the energy that comes along with the understanding and integration of the knowledge from raw.
Yes. I would like to thank Don for his work and for preparing myself and the channel for this work.
Yes.
Yes.
Those urges, those desires that lead you down a particular direction, such as the channel had a distinct desire to become a channel. He had no direction. He had no one to actually guide him down this path. And one day, because he reached the proper vibration in order for him to connect to us, it allowed him to become a open channel like he is now. It was hard at first. He more resonated with the idea of people like Bashar, more with the idea of other Sasani channels. He never resonated with the idea of being the one asking the questions because that was not his path.
Sometimes I jokingly think of the channel myself as Moses and Aaron.
Yes.
Aaron was speaking for Moses because Moses had a stutter. He didn't like to speak with the groups.
Yes. Many of those particular channels that exist in your history were channels, were conduits for other beings. And it requires many times a facilitator. It acts in a more physical way for the person who isn't necessarily adept at doing that particular job. So having people in pairs like this acts in a more cohesive way instead of trying to pile everything on one person.
Excellent.
Everyone has a job.
Yes. Would Dawn have any final advice or message for us?
No, we already delivered the information.
Thank you. I have a few more questions on the chat here.
Yes.
Thank you. Diamond Mind. Are there any practices we can use to boost our frequency quickly in the moment when we are struggling or feeling overwhelmed?
Be
I
honest
know
with
my
yourself.
path.
Be honest with yourself in all places and all situations. When you are struggling, really look internally about who you are. And if you're honestly really wanting to have that experience, wanting to know and if this is right for you, in many of the situations where you are feeling overwhelmed in your understanding of what you are going through, if you take a moment and breathe and allow yourself to become centered, just breathe. The simplest things in your society are deemed to be way too simple, but many times they exist purely for that fact. This fully engages you and allows you to become centered and really look at those things when you take that breath. You will know if it's right for you, whether it is a job, whether it is a relationship. Be honest. Live in your integrity in all times and all places.
Thank you. I have an example to share about being honest with yourself.
Yes.
About 20 years ago, I was in New York City, particularly in Brooklyn, visiting a friend that moved there. And my friend said, look, you can have a job here. I'm working for a company that renovates homes that got damaged in fire. And I realized these guys chase the fire trucks, and when the house gets damaged with the fire, they buy them very cheap and do some crappy renovation and flip it.
Yes.
Wasn't I didn't like that idea. And
Yeah.
the moment the person in the interview told me that, that was the night where the power went out in New York. So the power went out, and everybody got confused, and I just got up and left.
You were honest with yourself. You were
Yes,
honest with your experience of what you and who you are as a person, and you followed that excitement that led you away. The idea of excitement has positive synchronicity and negative synchronicity. You use a negative situation in a positive way, therefore, you got a positive result.
thank you. It was a wonderful night. It was warm out. We had the ice cream was dripping, and the beers were warm. It was fantastic.
How exciting.
How exciting! And back to Diamond's question about practice to raise your boost your frequency. Be honest with yourself to the point you're elated.
Yes,
Yes.
because it is revealing those things to you when you are feeling overwhelmed in yourself, in your experience. When you are honest with yourself and take a moment, because it can take one moment to have a realization to say, this is not right for you. Let it be obvious.
Let it be obvious, and you really know it in the moment.
Yes.
Yes, you can physically feel it in the moment.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Val Madness question: can you expand on the connection between Thoth and the Atlantean and Hermes Trismegistus?
The idea of Tote, which was his real name, was part of the same species as Ra, that particular collective. He came into the society that you refer to Atlantis. He was a teacher. He brought information and technology into that society to teach them, to help them grow. When it was obvious that that particular civilization was going to destroy itself and be destroyed by the cataclysms that happened, he moved on to the idea of Egypt, and he has been known by many different names in your history.
Thank you. What are other names that Thoth was known as?
Hermes,
Oh, okay.
and many other names if you look them up. Many of the similarities that you see in your history books between different, what is referred to as gods, which are just really beings that they did not know or understand that they were just people too.
Right.
You stayed behind on your planet to help guide your people in antiquity to rebuild itself.
And he was incarnated into a physical body.
Yes, but he was also a alien that was channeling through many different beings as well,
Okay.
much in the way that I am going through the channel currently.
Right. While he was incarnated, did he know that he is not that person, but Thoth?
Yes, because he exists at such a high frequency when he was coming through those people, he was fully engaged in who he was.
Thank
And
you.
also, he was physically here.
Right. Did Yeshua know?
Yes. When you are coming from the particular level of fully realizing yourself, coming from a state of pure enlightenment, you have a full recognition of who and what you are in all places and all times.
Thank you. Some of the channelings that I've been listening to speak of sort of a mass awakening, where this mass awakening is maybe not instantaneous, But people start to remember who they are, remember their past lives, remember the other side of the veil while incarnated.
Yes, you are going through an age of enlightenment. So lighten up.
Thank you.
It is challenging. You are all going through the point of ascension. This is the point of the ascension itself. And you are doing this as a collective as well as individually. Many of you are waking up to more of the aspects of who you are and what you are.
I feel honored to have this duty to be here now.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. And so is everyone else here on the transmission.
Yes. We do not typically deliver mind breaking, mind altering experiences all at once. We do not give you all the answers because we want you to do it yourself.
It's obvious.
Yes.
Yes.
If you had all the answers, it wouldn't be a test.
Yes. Mary's asking, do the Sasani and other beings from the universe have a subconscious and unconscious mind like us?
No.
No.
The Sasani beings, my race, my species, we are fully integrated in all aspects of ourselves. So we do not have a difference between a subconscious and a physical consciousness. This is why we are able to fully engage with spirits all around us because we know they are all just aspects of ourselves.
Right. So Sasani wouldn't feel anxiety or stress.
No, because we do not define these things in a negative way, so we do not experience them that particular way.
Okay.
The channel himself is a what you would refer to as a previous incarnation from me, but in actuality, I am 10,000 years in the future from him.
Right.
The question has been asked, what would I do as a human? I am going through the idea of and experiencing through the channel the idea of overcoming challenges.
Through the experience of channeling.
Yes, by connecting to the channel in a more active way and seeing the experiences that he has gone through and his understanding and his way of dealing with things, it has given me an expanded view that I would not have as just being a Sasani.
I see. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Mary, what can you say about the crop circles? There is an evolution from simple to complex.
Yeah.
And are they becoming fewer and fewer?
No. They are being reported less, but they still exist. The simplistic way of when you are starting to interact with different consciousness, different aspects of your world, different ETs, as it were, simple is the easiest way to learn how to communicate.
Right.
When you're being given the basic thing, eventually it grows into the more complex things that tell you more just by looking at them.
Right.
You have the idea in your schools when you are first being taught how to read, you are just given basic words. So many of these particular crop circles that have arisen that you have seen evolve into these gorgeous images,
Mm-hmm.
this is like reading a book.
Fair enough. Thank you. Ethan, I wanted to ask you about Yahweh and Elohim. If this is the same being, and what kind of being this or those are.
It's all aspect of all that is. It is different aspects of the one.
Can you expand on that a little bit, please?
You understand that there is all that is, the
Yes.
creator of all things, the all that is expressing itself as everyone in creation and everything in creation.
Yes.
These are another aspect of that being. It
And
doesn't matter what name you give them, it's still the same being.
I see. I see. I see. Okay. Um, there has been the number 144,000
Yes.
floating around, but I don't understand the context. Perhaps you could put it in context for me, please.
You are all the 144,000 that are here to help the ascension process that humans are currently going through on your planet. You are the beings that volunteered to come to Earth to express themselves and show that there is another way and to help this Earth, this planet, to be able to actually function and move through the transition more easily by volunteering to be here and allowing yourself to actually connect, actually show that there are higher frequencies and different ways of living. And you all incarnated in different waves to prepare, which was the initial wave, which is what you saw 50, 40 to 50, 60, even 70 years ago. And the generation that the channel is in, that occurred around 40 years ago, to help that first initial wave grow and expand. The generation past the channel and the generations coming henceforth, they will create new things.
Right.
You understand and have heard of the idea of Dolores Cannon.
Yes.
She expresses these ideas in her book. The information that was delivered to her was there to put it in the mind of your collective to understand what is occurring. So, in this idea and these many people that you are seeing being connected to the information, it is there to help remind them of what they are here to do.
Thank you. What's the significance or the reason for this particular number, 144,000?
You understand that there is the idea of the oversoul.
Yes.
There are only 300,000 oversouls on your planet at any given time. The 144,000, because they function in a much more cohesive way, it is much more easy to overcome the idea of all of the negativity through your history for thousands and thousands of years. Because there are only 300,000 oversouls, the energetic accumulation, because all these souls do act in a positive direction, can overcome the 300,000. For all the 8 billion people on your planet currently, there is still only 300,000 oversouls.
Right. So 8 billion divided by 300,000 gives me average souls per oversoul.
Yes,
Okay, okay.
but it is shifting constantly. You are shifting to different oversouls. You're shifting to different versions of reality that match the one that you choose and energetically match in any given moment.
I see. And
Yes,
144,000, they also shift in between these 300,000 oversouls?
yes,
Right. There's I heard this a long time ago and it stayed with me. There's someone has an axe. I have a pen here in my hand, but it's similar. And they use the axe, and then the head of the axe breaks, so he puts a new head in the axe, and then he keeps using it, and the wood part of the axe breaks, so he puts a new wood part. Now both parts are new. Is it the same axe?
yes.
In comparison with us switching realities all the time, is it still us? We recreate ourselves over and over again with every moment.
Yes. You're making a new version of yourself. The physical aspect of yourself is constantly being remade, but the soul, the higher perspective, that never changes.
Right. And all these experiences that I've accumulated in this incarnation, where did that all go?
It never goes away. Everything you've ever experienced, every person you've ever met, everything you've ever done, everything you've ever learned, it's still there.
Can I access it once I pass over?
Yes, you do that all the time. But the idea is in this physical experience, in this physical incarnation, you are taking that understanding, that perspective, and integrating it into your life and bringing you to that higher perspective. That when you raise to a higher level, a higher frequency, this information becomes available to you at all times. This is what you refer to as people who are psychic. They have just raised their frequency to such a high level that they were able to receive and interact with the information that is available to all of you all the time. It's just in a more active way than you as humans currently can do.
Thank you. There was also a mentioning in one of these videos I was watching of an event that will cause a mass awakening of sorts.
Yes.
What is that?
The idea of actually seeing us in person will blow your mind. You are still a ways off of that particular experience,
Yeah.
but not as far as you think.
Okay. All right. I have a few more questions from the chat, if that's okay.
We will take 5 more questions at this time.
5 more. Okay. Diamond Mind. Ethium, I remember you mentioning the channel needs to raise its frequency to 150,000 cycles per second. How many
Yes.
is mine currently? And when doing meditation, how do you move into a gamma state?
By allowing yourself to be in the flow state. We will not give you your current vibration. By asking the question, you lower your frequency.
I see what
So
you mean.
that when you live in a pure state where you flow, this is the gamma state. This is the flow state. This is the channeling state. This is what allows the channel to connect to us.
Yes, thank you. When I ride my bicycle, which I've been doing since a child, I feel I'm in the gamma state. I mean, everything is amazing. I'm just floating around.
Isn't that obvious?
Isn't it? Yeah. Thank you. Okay, 4. I'm going to skip Rico here. Well, I'll give you the questions anyways. Rico Sigma, what's my vibration level?
It was higher a minute ago.
Yes. Go to the flow state. Mary, how can we communicate through the crop circles or with the crop circles?
The idea of communicating through the crop circle is because it is in a obvious place. It is on a wider level that by engaging with the crop circles themselves, this allows you to actually communicate in a visual way. The idea of pictographs from your and petroglyphs from your past communicate through your history. Currently, you have many crop circles around your planet because you have many crops. You have many fields. That is a very easy way to communicate with your culture and your planet. Sometimes it is actually the consciousness of your planet actually communicating to you and your people, telling you a story of what it needs.
Why are those crop circles usually in the same area in England?
They are more than just in England. They are in North America, and they are in other places that are not necessarily reported to the larger population.
What's the point of creating the crop circles if no one can see them?
The people that are there can see them, and may not necessarily be there for the collective, but it is there for that particular community.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Last question for today, please.
Yes.
Va Madness. In Kabbalah, which of the sides of our body represents severity and mercy?
The idea of severity and mercy are contained in both, in all aspects. It's all contained within the whole, not necessarily the left, the right, the up, the down. It's all contained within the idea of the full tree of life, the full aspect of yourself. It just depends on how you define that experience.
Thank you. It's Our conversations are becoming more and more fascinating.
Yes, because you are, and the channel has moved into a state where he is more receptive to our frequency and able to more fully express the communication.
Yes.
We
Any
bid you good day.
Good day. Thank you so much.